All right. So we're looking at Bitcoin here. And there hasn't been too much happening the last couple of days. To be honest, I haven't really been trading or doing much. I've been pretty busy, and I've been stuck inside on this quarantine stuff, and I'm over it. So I've been chilling out, but now I've come back today, and we're having a look. And the main thing I can see straight away is that you've got this is what I call a single candle supply zone. And it's basically an area of resistance, and we can see it as clear as day. We've got the resistance from here, it's here, it's respected at 4 times, and on the 5th touch we broke out and we've come back under. And in this point here, if you remember a week or so ago when this happened, there was a lot of traders in fear. People were on the edge of their seats. And, we've got these numbers coming out. Oh, we're going to go this low and that low. But, to me, that's the best time to buy. And what I noticed here is you can see we come under this resistance, the supply zone. And, we've made a lot of wicks here. So there's a lot of buying pressure here. This is what can be referred to as a possible liquidity pool. So there's a possibility here that all these traders that tried to short because we've broken under this level again, they could actually be trapped here. And basically, if we can confirm off this level, I'll just stretch it out a bit. If you want to stretch out your zones, by the way, you can just click extend right. So looking at this level, if we can do something like this, and we can put a pin bar, and I'm pretty confident we're going to have a decent move here because we're nearly reset on the stochastic. But to me, the most important thing is the price action. Doesn't matter, what technical analysis technique that you're going to use. The most important thing to me is the price action itself and how the candles are reacting to these levels. So right now we've had 5 green candles in a row on the daily. So there is a bit of bullish momentum there. And, as long as we can hold above this level in the short term here, I think it's definitely possible we're going to come up here. And, if that happens, I'll be taking a long. And, the first area I'm going to look at is here, which is, you can see the head and shoulders there. We actually had a perfect head and shoulders. It didn't give us a bearish retest. And for those of you who are new, this is our Discord. I'm going to show you at the bottom. We've got the patterns database, and I'll show you the example of the head and shoulders. Right. So this is the head and shoulders. I'll open it a bit larger so you guys can see. Can you all see that? I'm just going to assume it's yes. So, you can see point B here is the bearish retest, which is, the second entry point for the head and shoulders. We actually never got the bearish retest. We've got the head and shoulders. We come straight down. We didn't give no entry there on the 5-minute or the 15-minute. Yeah, there was a little wick that could have been your bearish retest, but it's not what I call a rounded retest. So, I would hope right now that we can confirm off this level and come up here. And then this is where we're going to have the next kind of entry for a short or for a long. A nice rejection, we're going to go short, or we're going to see the bulls take over. We're going to pop above here and we're going to bounce, and we're going to continue this bull trend. And I don't know if you guys saw my idea from the other week. I'll just open it up now. What I was looking at as well, and I haven't been paying too much attention the last couple of days. I took a bit of a breather. I went and got some sun because it's sunny in Melbourne for a few days, and I kind of missed my own setup that I've been raving on about. So I'll just find it here. Here we go. So I've been looking at this kind of channel, and if you go on the weekly, now I really don't care what other people say or how they view charts. You know, to me, this is a bull flag. There's no question for that. To me, you know, this was the original thing I had here. I had the flag down to here, and you know, it's got the flagpole and it's got the consolidation. It's a clear as day bull flag. The only thing that most people don't know is that the ones that are slanted upwards like this, they're harder to trade and their levels are harder to identify. But it can be an extremely bullish setup, and it can, you know, because it's on an angle upwards, it shows that there's strength in this pattern. But I actually had my line drawn like this, you know, and I said, oh, no, you know, it hasn't touched it. I don't like that, you know, and I went OCD, when realistically, if I zoomed in and looked at it properly, it's actually had 3 touches. It's actually confirming off this support right now. Although it does look a bit bearish on the indicators, I think if this candle holds on the weekly and we get a bit of momentum, we could definitely see a reversal here. You know, and the extreme bullish scenario is if we can get back above this area here. You know, if we can kind of, if we can come up and kind of bounce off this area and keep going up, you know, that's the only bullish scenario. And if this area is lost now, I'm pretty confident we're going to have a bit of a shakeout, because, you know, there's actually some kind of news coming up for Bitcoin now. I don't know how truthful or exact it is, but my source of information, he's usually pretty spot on about these kind of things. And I've been getting word that there's some regulations coming for Bitcoin from the European Union, and they're going to be positive for Bitcoin. So, you know, I personally think that the market's going to react initially in fear to this. So I had this scenario where we're going to lose this support, we're going to reject, and we're going to come down to this 0.618 fib or 0.382 fib, and it's going to be just a quick V reversal straight back up here, and then we're going to take off, which is from the bullish news, which is the regulations, but the average investor is going to take it as bearish. That's what I think can happen. And my trading plan, I posted on my trading view and in the Discord for you guys. I'm just going to open it up now. Here we go. So this was, I posted this just before the head and shoulders and the dump played out on Bitcoin a week or so ago, September the 3rd, actually. So you can see that general setup I was looking at. Now, it might be a little bit confusing, but basically the green areas are possible areas for a long entry, and the red areas are areas where you want to look for shorts. So I've mapped out the different levels and where I think price can go. We can press play. We can see how we just missed that bottom bit, and, you know, I was being a bit OCD. I did get a little scalp in here, but, you know, I should have looked at a better position for my original idea, which I'm kind of hating myself for now, but we don't know what's going to happen yet. The 4 hour does look a bit bearish, so I'm thinking maybe it's going to come back to this pink line, which was the entry I marked here in the green. So this is still my main idea here, guys. You know, watching these 2 pink lines. If we break under it, we're going to look for a quick reversal, or we're going to look for a bearish retest off the pink level, or if we dump now and we see a nice pin bar off the bottom pink level, we're going to go for a long. And if we come up here to the neckline of this head and shoulders, depending on the price action and, you know, what everything looks like, I'm going to be looking for a short back down to the pink area or lower, or I'm going to be looking for a long where we come up, we break this purple, this zone I got, and you know, we bounce off it. And then the next area to watch for another bounce is the outside of the pink line. And what else I wanted to go into for you guys is I've been actually working on something. Just a second, guys. I got this Zoom thing stuck in the middle of my screen. There we go. So can everyone see this? Can you guys read the writing clearly, or? Anyone unmuted? Can you guys read the writing there, or?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So this is what I've been working on at the moment. We're making a trading guide. So this is just one example section where I've covered supply and demand zones, and you know, they're pretty similar to order blocks. I actually find that a lot of order blocks kind of have supply and demand zones inside of them on smaller time frames. So there's four main types here. There's demand clusters, there's single candle demand supply clusters, and single candle supply, two bullish ones and two bearish. And the basic idea is it creates a zone, and as the price revisits it, we see a reversal in the trend until the buyers or the sellers run out and we come under, and then we get an SR flip and we go the other direction. So looking back at what I was originally saying for Bitcoin, let's just zoom in a bit. The first thing I noticed right now is that, just like I showed you in that image, right here, we've got a single candle supply zone. So you can see here, you know, the downtrend literally started from this candle. So this is the single candle supply zone. We've come up, you know, if you drew it a little bit differently, all right, we've touched it like 4 times, but it's a general zone. And if you draw order blocks or if you draw other types of zones, they actually all line up to this level here. I've got them all on my chart. And, you know, the idea is, as long as this holds, we should expect a wave up. And I'm going to look at it here. So this is the section I've covered here. This is the single candle supply. And you can see every time the price revisits it, it continues down. So that's the main setup I'm looking for right now on Bitcoin. I'm bullish until proven otherwise. And I'll be looking at shorts once we get up to this head and shoulders or we break under. Now, someone was mentioning BNB. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's been on a bit of a run, hasn't it? So let's just take a quick look. Now, to me, it looks pretty good to me. It looks very bullish, you know. The first thing I can see is that we're at a key resistance right now, like literally just touching it. And this is a clear, like a saucer pattern, or, you know, around the bottom. We can see it here. And what I can also notice about the monthly is that we're not even close to overbought yet. So we can actually go a lot further with this on BNB. Now, zooming in a bit, like it's touching this area perfect. So I definitely wouldn't long here because you're longing straight into resistance. You know, the best thing to do here would be to wait it out. This zone here is clear to me straight away. And if we come down from here, put our 0.5 fib on, These are the three main Fibonacci levels I use. We can see the 0.5 matches up with this supply zone. So the best thing to do on BNB is to wait, see what happens. We're going to look for, we're going to zoom in, smaller time frame. We're going to look for a setup off this key level, or we're going to look for a retracement and a bounce off the 0.5 fib. But all around, I think on the monthly time frame, which is what I just looked at, BNB does look pretty good. But I wouldn't buy it here. You know, not at this resistance anyway. What else can we look at? Let's have a look at F. Yeah, so similar kind of thing to what I showed you guys on Bitcoin. They're really correlated anyway. So, you know, we've got this clear zone of demand here. Now I've got a few different charts I look at on Ethereum. I'll just draw it fresh for you guys. It makes it a bit easier. So we can see it. This is a single candle demand zone.
Oh,
so we can see where they're at. We had
they go on the bottom.
Sorry, I just muted the wrong person.
Nah, it's all good. We had a little bit of a downtrend here. We had a quick reversal, and you can see this pin bar candle. That gives us the single candle demand zone. I'm going to show you guys here, back on the little guide I'm working on. So you can see here on the left, demand single candle. And this creates a zone, and you can go long from it when the price revisits it. So we can see this zone here on Ethereum. You know, we've come back and we've bounced here from it. We've bounced here from it. We bounced here from it. And then we had a big shakeout. People thought it was actually going to reclaim it, and then they got wrecked. And the one thing I noticed straight away when I looked at this, and you know, if I noticed this, I would have took a long already on Ethereum. I haven't been online much, so I missed this entry, but I can see this pin bar right there perfectly on this zone. Now, if I notice that, I will long that with no hesitation, because it's just the key setup. You know, when you're looking at these kind of supply and demand flips, they're actually highly probable kind of trades. Like the percentage of the time that the price will bounce off one of these zones and at least make it just to the next zone, like it might only be a short distance away, but it's actually quite reliable. So to me, as long as we hold this level, which is pretty similar to what we're seeing on Bitcoin as well, you know, we're bullish. But if we do come down and we reject off this, I would watch out, because it's probably going to get really messy across the whole market. Is there any other coins you guys want me to look at? Anything you guys want me to cover? I actually had someone that wanted to ask me about fundamental analysis, I think. Now, I just wanted to say, you know, I post a bit of fundamental stuff, guys, but I'm not an expert in fundamental analysis. But I did want to give you guys some tips, first of all. And, you know, the first thing, I'll just get my screen clear. The first thing you should, when you're going to buy, like invest in a crypto anyway, is you should know is the price of the crypto, does it work out when you calculate the market cap? For example, if you know, you see all these people and they're like, oh, XRP is going to go to $50, or it's going to go to $100, and you know, you got to actually calculate the market cap and work out, is that possible? We all know that, you know, market cap's not everything. Like at the end of the day, the demand of the people buying it, and you know, the speculation is going to help in the price, but you've got to be realistic as well and understand how much kind of market cap a coin has to have for it to be these kinds of prices. So I've got the little formula here for you guys. You might want to write it down or whatever. If you actually want to work out what the price of a token should be if you want to calculate its market cap, I think this is one of the first things you should be looking at if you want to do kind of fundamental, is you should actually understand the calculations of the value of the coin. So basically you are going to go on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, and you're going to find out the total amount of coins in circulation. And then you're going to times that by the price of the coin. And that should give you an estimation of the market cap. So let's look it up. We'll just use CoinGecko. Now I'm going to use this as an example because, you know, we were talking about this in the Discord, this brand new staking token called Salmon. And, you know, when it released onto the market, it was like, I think $700 or $800, or it was something like that, you know. All these people were buying it. And I said, don't buy this thing, guys. I'm like, you know, wait till the price stabilizes at least if you're going to try do staking on this. And you can see it's at $17 now, which is quite ridiculous, you know. But I have to go to the overview. I'm going to have to use another example because the information for the market cap, it's not even here. So let's just use XRP, right? Since we were talking about it. Now we've got the circulating supply. So let's just do two calculations here. It's a bit of a shitty website. Jesus. All right. So 0.25 times. Now there's circulating supply and total supply, 45. All right, 45 billion circulating supply. 45. And we'll calculate that. So the market cap with this calculation is 11 billion. All right. As we can see here, so 11 million. As we can see here, it's the exact market cap, right? From that calculation. So I use the circulating supply, times it by 0.25, and it's given us this exact number here. So if you do this calculation, and we were to do the same calculation, but instead of 0.25, all right, people say, oh, I want XRP. I think XRP is going to go to $50, right? 50 times 45. We'll just round it off, you know, is that is, I think that's 225 billion. So do we think that there's going to, XRP is going to have a market cap of 225 billion and go to $50? I think it's really unlikely. So I know that's not a fundamental analysis, but for me, that is one of the most important things you should understand first if you're going to invest in a particular token for a long-term investment and you've got these targets in your head. First, understand if it's even going to be possible to reach that target. Now, my advice for you guys on the actual fundamental analysis is, you know, one of the most important things to me is not the fundamentals of the token itself, but it's the fundamentals in the regard of what people think of the token and what value they have for the token. you know, at the end of the day, it can be a shit project, but if people take value in it, the price is still going to react. So my advice to you, when you do this, when you're looking at fundamental analysis, is also look at the general sentiment of the population of traders. You know, look at what people's opinions are on that token. Look at how bullish they are on it. You know, go on your forums, on your Twitter, and see the comments, and you know what kind of stuff people are talking about, and see what tokens are being talked about a lot. And if you're on doing this a lot, you know, I'm on this stuff kind of every day. I'm checking out stuff on the internet. It gives you a bit of a gauge and a feel for the sentiment of the market. And this is going to help you pick what kind of tokens to invest in. And when you pair that with technical analysis, like if you see, like, you know, you can see on Ethereum here, you know, I'm not going to say I traded this. I'm just trying to give you a theoretical example. We've seen this massive pin bar, you know, this massive, so many people would have got wrecked there. And I'm telling you now, I can say with maybe 95% confidence, at this bottom of this thing, if you went on Twitter and if you went on Facebook, you would have seen so many negative posts, and you would have seen so many bears calling out their, oh, Ethereum's going to 200 and 150. And, you know, if you got experience and you immerse yourself into this trading and social media, you're going to get a feel and a sense of the whole sentiment of the market. And this is going to help you understand which tokens can actually have more of a chance of running, or you know, which points in the market have more chances of reversing, you know. So I know that's not really a fundamental analysis of like the company, but I'm just trying to educate you guys in just different things that influence a decision when I'm doing technical analysis or looking at a trade, you know. So I consider all these things. And another useful tool I actually use sometimes is, I don't think I'm going to be logged into Twitter. I might have to show you guys. Here we go. Actually, I am. So one useful page you can follow is, it's called Glassnode Alerts. Now, this is useful because basically it's like a Glassnode is a kind of a data platform. And this, if you follow this Twitter, it just posts automatic announcements about changes in data. And this is not kind of your average data that you're going to see like on your chart patterns and stuff. You know, it's like in-depth kind of technical data. So you've got like miners to exchange flow.
Just shut up.
Got market cap. You know, you've got Bitcoin hash rate. Now I follow this because now most of this stuff is pretty advanced. You're going to need to understand the technical stuff of crypto, and you know how the blockchain works and all that kind of stuff to see how it's going to affect the market. But the ones you can simply understand are ones like I was telling people about a month ago, how or 2 months ago, we were extremely bullish on Ethereum because on this Glassnode alerts, I can't find it now. It's probably really far down the page. Oh, here we go. This is one example. Now, I was trying to tell people about this for ages, and you know, on this graph, it's got Ethereum and it's got the number of addresses holding 0.1 coins plus out of every single address. It's a graph of how many of them there are, and the increase over time of the addresses with a minimum of 0.1 Ethereum. Now, I had one that was like a number of addresses holding 50 Ethereum or 500 or something. And you could see the chart was just making an uptrend. So I said, this is bullish for Ethereum. You know, that people are buying Ethereum, they're holding it in their wallet, the amount of users are increasing. If I go back on the chart and I zoom out, when I was talking about this, Now I'm pretty sure we were down here. We were over here, you know. I was trying to tell people, you know, people are buying Ethereum. The wallets, the amount of wallets are increasing. The amount of users is increasing because of this staking. You know, we're bullish. Don't worry about the chart. It's going to negate the chart. And you know, we came down here. I think I called along, and I'll draw it properly for you guys. You know, on this level or whatever. I called along like here, and we got rejected here, and you know, people started saying on Facebook, oh yeah, we're bearish and this and that, and the chart doesn't line up. And I said, just look at what's in front of you, like how many people are using Ethereum and how many new addresses are coming. This post glass notes, every single day it just kept coming up with more and more addresses. You can see it had an all-time high of 3,400,000. Yeah, every day it was increasing by like 5,000 or 10,000. So I knew in the back of my head that overall we were bullish here. And then, you know, not long after, it absolutely skyrocketed with, we saw Uniswap and the staking and all these other factors drive Ethereum up, and it actually dragged the whole market up. So but that's just my quick advice for you guys. You know, I don't do so much like fundamental analysis in the fact where I go look up the board of directors and the, you know, the specifics of the company. I do have a general consideration for that, but the way I look at things is more sentiment based. And, you know, I've been doing this for 4 years, so I have the general knowledge of tokens as well. So that's my advice to you guys. Definitely consider the sentiment, like how everyone else feels about the coin, and you can also use tools to help you in this. In the Discord, you know, you've got our section market analysis and signals. Under that, we've got technical knowledge. And if you go down here, you've got market sentiment links. So now this is mainly for, you know, for Bitcoin and the crypto market in general, but you can still put it to use. So you've got the fear and greed index, and this is going to tell you if there's a lot of fear or greed in the market right now. And when, you know, as a general rule of thumb, when the market's in fear is usually a good time to buy, and when we're in extreme greed is the time to avoid selling. So you can use that to factor in your trades as well. You've also got the sentiment here, bulls and bear index, which will tell you the general conversations on social media that people are having, if they're bullish or bearish. And we also have here, this is another analysis here of the Bitcoin sentiment versus the price and social media mentions. Now there's a few other tokens here. This is a paid kind of website. If you know, I'm not using it as a paid thing. I already have enough stuff I'm using. But if you wanted a tool to gauge like the sentiment of different cryptos, it's got all the different ones. This is something you can look into, you know. But that's as with everything, I tell people the biggest thing in crypto and in trading is experience. You need to be active. You need to look at the charts every day, and you need to get tuned into the market. And with experience comes knowledge. You know, after you do this for a period of time, it becomes second nature. You'll just understand the market. You'll kind of get a feel for when things react. And then if you take notes and you keep track of your ideas, you might not notice it at the current time, but when you look back on it later in time, it's going to help you understand why things happened. And eventually, with enough practice, you will get a feeling, and you'll understand, oh, you know, the whole market we dumped under this support, and the whole market was extremely bearish. And, you know, because people were so in so much fear, it was actually the perfect buy point. And then, you know, we came up and we seen this reaction to this level, which confirmed our idea. You know, that's my biggest advice, guys, is just keep at it. You know, keep trying to read, trying to learn every day, and most of all, keep up trading. Even if it's small trades, keep trading and keep applying yourself. And you know, it's going to become second nature. Once it becomes second nature, it's just going to get better and better. So that's my general advice to you guys. And I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything you want to jump in and say, Kyle?
Yeah, I'll just do a quick market update.
Yeah, sweet, man.
Everyone that's in. If anyone wants to shoot through charts they want me to have a look at, we can do that now. But we're going to start off on Bitcoin. All right, so you guys can all see my screen. So the moment on BTC, what I'm seeing right now is we've come up to a pretty key point of whatever this pattern is at the moment. It might be a bottoming pattern, it might be a flag. To me, I'm sort of feeling, I don't know, the whole time we've been down here, I've just sort of felt like this is more of a bear flag than it is of a bottom, but I could be wrong, right? And so I think a really key level to watch is the first initial swing high of, you know, this range that we're in, right? So this is pretty much the range through here, right? This is obviously the first initial swing high, so it's an important point to watch, right? We've come back up after, obviously, you know, on some charts there was an SFP through here on the BitMEX chart. We're on Binance at the moment. It wasn't there, but it actually broke that low. It was a bit of a retarded candle actually on the BitMEX chart. To be honest, this candle actually threw me off and made me not long. Usually I would long that every single time, but because we had this huge thing, it went up here, I was like, what the fuck's going on? Just doesn't seem right. And usually when you get these retarded, huge Darth Maul, double-ended lightsaber looking candles, usually you get a rollover after that. But it didn't come. We just started grinding back up. I had a couple of falling wedges, like there was a little one through there, probably could have got on too, but wasn't really that keen on trading this weekend, to be honest, because not 100% certain on the movement in the market right now. So rather than trading too, like over trading on the weekend, where you're not too sure about which direction the market's really going in and losing money. Like, I don't like to trade when I'm uncertain. You're better off just preserving that capital and waiting until you're certain again. Like, a lot of people keep asking me in the chat, hey, Dax, what do you think of this? 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 At the moment, you know, and change to some of the other guys who are quite experienced traders, a lot of us are like, look, to be honest, not really sure at the moment. It's a bit of a 50-50 right now. So when the market's like a bit of a 50-50, I'm not really that keen on taking big positions. Like, I might trade a couple of small positions, but I'm not doing anything that, you know, if the market does go against me, I'm going to lose money because I'm just don't have that much certainty that I'm reading the market correctly at the moment. So it's best to wait until you are certain and then you pull the trigger then, right? So at the moment, what I'm seeing right now is we're coming back up. We're retesting the range high, which is, you know, pretty much 10,600, right? We'll go back to my other chart. I think I have deleted an order block somehow through here, but I'll just draw it back in. We've got this order block from this point here, which has been quite important. Got a few rejections off that multiple times throughout the course of the year, right? And we're coming back up and we're actually just tagging that right now. So for me, tagging the bottom side of an order block, which also, you know, was the top there, right? So on this chart, on the Binance chart, we're just looking at just this range, right? And then we can see on our BitMEX chart that this range is actually being defined by the order block, right? Well, at least the top of it has been anyway. So we've got a bounce originally off the order block, possibly could have ran back up there, but, you know, that rolled over pretty quickly, right? So it's also a little bit of a support and resistance flip of that low there and that high there. And now we're tagging that level again, right? So if we can break out of here and flip this 10,600 into support, we can get a nice support resistance flip off that. That is a long entry for me like that, right? But at the moment, just from what I'm seeing, the 1 hour is quite overbought, right? We're actually in a swing low right now. We're tagging quite high on RSI. We're in a swing low on stochastics. If we go and have a look on our Binance chart, Nexus is actually about to give us quite a deep overbought forecast sell signal, right? Which generally is quite a good short entry. We can see the last time we got one was actually up here on this candle here, which ended up, you know, leading to this quite aggressive 17% dump, right? So it is, to me, looking more likely that we're going to break down, and this is going to end up just playing as a rising wedge, right? I'll make it red, right? So it looks like that's a bit of a rising wedge through there. So that's definitely one to watch. If this then plays in the next 2 hours and 15 minutes, if this plays as a shooting star and we get a sell signal here on Nexus and we break down support resistance flip 10,400, then I think definitely this is going to come back and test the range low. That for me would line up quite nicely for the CME gap close, which is at 9,600, right? Which is down here. And we could close that possibly tomorrow, sometime throughout the day. And maybe that's going to be the bottom. Then we reclaim this level here. That's going to be a really nice entry for like a longer term rally. This is what, for me, this is what would be the perfect setup for this whole range. Come back, retest the top of the range. Then we break down, we close the CME gap, come back inside the bottom of the range and take off. Now, that's just one possibility. Obviously, a lot of things have to happen before. So, I'm just sort of forecasting to show you guys things that I'm thinking about might happen and possible entries that we can take at the time. If that does happen, I'll notify everybody that I'm taking an entry, right? But just to give you guys like a good understanding of the way that I like to trade is when you have really defined ranges like this or really key levels and you break below the range and then reclaim that level, it's a really nice entry on the SR flip there. And sometimes it's just a tiny little wick and then it goes again. Sometimes it comes down, you have a few candles and then it goes off again. Those are one of my favorite types of entries. And we should expect that to sort of take off, especially because, we are realistically in a bull market. So once we start to retake those range lows, that's when I want to be getting long, right? To give you an example, this entry back here is actually very similar, right? And this is actually an entry that I teach on some of the webinars. It's not super clean here. It's actually cleaner on the BitMEX chart. It's actually it's actually the same type of entry. And I actually missed this one because I wasn't really expecting. I thought what we're going to do was just maybe have a little bit of a pullback here and then reclaim and take off because the market just seems so bullish. And then the stock market kicked in and everything like that. But this is the entry, the type of entry that I just showed you guys is actually the same type of entry of the bearish play that just played out, but obviously just in reverse. So this is a tag here. This is a tag here. So a nice double tag of a key level, right? Which actually comes from back here, right? So tops here and tops here. So it's an important level. We break above that level and then we break back through the key level without having a bounce off it. So usually you get a bounce off there and rally and head higher, right? You'd have a nice support resistance flip. We actually broke straight underneath that, retested and then dumped off. Usually what happens when you come back up to these levels, when you retest them, it can be a really nice, short entry. And this essentially, right, this is a range, popped out the top of the range, reclaimed it. It took a long time for that to retest, but eventually it didn't break down, right? That is very similar to this type of trade setup that I'm talking about here. If we were going to do the same thing, right? Come down, bounce off here, reclaim, and then go something like that. Happens all the time, right? And so this entry here, right, which would be something like this, is almost exactly the same as this entry here, which ended up playing out really nicely to the short side. But I missed this one probably because I was just way too bullishly biased at the time, which is fair enough considering we're in a bull market. But yeah, it's the same entry, but this is just the reverse of it. So this is the bearish setup, and this would be the bullish setup. So that's what I'm looking for. Same type of thing. And then generally you can expect, even if it doesn't break out the top here, generally you can expect it to push at least to the range high, right? So you're going to at least be looking for a 600-point move off that. And then if this does break out the top here, right, like this breaks out the top here, a lot of times you get a bullish retest there and you can get in there. And that's pretty much like just trading a wick off bottom, right? There'd be a wick off accumulation pattern, right? So yeah, those are the type of entries I really like to take. Hopefully that makes sense. And we'll be looking for that sort of entry over the next week coming up. We can see Bitcoin is starting to break down now. It looks like this is probably going to play as the shooting star reversal and we get the dump down. So we'll see how this plays out. But if this breaks down as the rising wedge, I'm going to be targeting 10K again, that's for sure. The other thing as well that I'm watching at the moment is Ethereum. Just looks like a massive rising wedge to me. I don't know about you guys. If anyone's really bullish on the market at the moment, feel free to tune in and you can share your chart as well if you have a little bit more of a bullish stance. But I don't know, to me, this just looks like a rising wedge, like massive dump into slow grind higher. And, it looks like it's preparing to have another big dump again. I don't know. But it can always just reject as well, guys. That's always the thing. Like, yeah, sure, this is a rising wedge. The probability that this is probably more likely than not, it's around about 67 or 75%, right? Depending on the market, that this is going to break down. But that would make more sense to me that it breaks down here, right? So sort of watching for that, watching for this key level as well at 366, because if we break underneath that, right, sort of support throughout there, then, that could be a late short entry. If you miss it, you want to be a bit safer, could be a late short entry there if you're not getting in at the moment. And this is the other thing to watch for as well. Like, this is obviously a supply zone through here, right? And we've come into that supply zone area and now we're sort of getting rejected, right? This can always, continue just to break up, right? Because everything in trading is probability, and we might come back down like this and then take off, like and shoot for the highs again. Like, anything can happen. We are in a bull market, and trading is always about probabilities. But for me, I'm just the feeling that I have at the market. Like, look at this really deep oversold again on Nexus. The 4 hours been pinned for a long time on stochastics, right? Then we're going to need it to swing low pretty soon, and it is the weekend as well. So who knows, might happen. I am a little bit more bearish. And the other thing as well to look at the moment is the stock market looks really fucking bearish, to be honest. Like, underneath the all-time high, this just looks like a really big breakdown, bearish retest, and who knows what's going to happen next week. This could reclaim and then take off. It could reclaim, take off, come back up, retest the all-time high, double top and nuke from there, or we might just do something like this and then it takes off. The stock market loves to do these big, huge flag patterns. It'd be very similar to something similar to this, right? Coils up and then takes off. But we do have to remember the US presidential election is November 3rd, right? So generally the market does move downwards into the election because it's just uncertainty, right? Especially if Biden wins, going to tax the fuck out of everybody. And I don't think that's going to be good for the markets, at least 100% in the short term. If Biden wins, I think the market's going to crash. Longer term, it's probably going to recover anyway, right? But I think the short term, the shock for a new president, everything like that, will be more bearish. If Trump wins, I think the market will have a more of a bullish reaction instantly. So that's November 3rd, which is going to be over here. Whoops. November 3rd, right? So November 3rd, still got a while to go. This easily could reclaim, come back up, and then break down and do something like that, right? But, it's pretty early to forecast. The thing that has me worried the most is the weekly looks horrific, right? Let's just put all-time high through there. Right, so we actually have a really big bearish divergence here on the weekly. Right, I think I posted about this earlier in the week, and yeah, it's playing out. I've picked a few tops on the stock market, looking for these big bear divs. This one was one of the other ones I picked in 2018. It was a big bear div here. It's almost exactly the same type setup, except this one obviously is just way more extreme. This was a nice sell-off. Right, 10% sell-off, and then, we had the really nice rally into the bearish divergence, right, and then it nuked. Then we got our bottom, and we took off from there, right? Nice bull hammer on the weekly after being oversold. And we sort of went on that really strong rally again, blow off top, then big nuke again, right? So it's sort of setting up very similar sort of setup at the moment. So I think at least we can come back to 3,000 200, somewhere around there. And possibly, you know, might come back to test this trend line that's bounced off multiple times through here. So if that does happen, it's probably going to be a bit more bearish for Bitcoin. And then we're going to have to watch and see what the DXY does. So it's going to be interesting to see how the DXY plays over the next week. Because I think if this breaks down underneath this trend line again, I think everything's going to take off, right? But we need to watch. It does look like it's in a pretty bullish accumulation pattern, bouncing off this trend line here again. And if we reclaim the range high at 93, I think, you know, it's going to spell pretty bad for things like gold, Bitcoin, and silver. So they're definitely like the major things that I want to be watching at the moment. Gold, obviously, as well, just looks like a gigantic bull flag, right?
Do you mind if I share my DXY chart quickly?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I'll stop sharing. You can take over.
Yes.
Really long the penis pattern. Yeah, JMac, DXY definitely looks very bullish to me.
I'm just having an issue with my Zoom right now. Here we go. I got it. All right, guys. So, yeah, forgive the chart. It's a bit of a mess, guys. But just from what I'm seeing here is we're at a really key area on the DXY. Now, I was talking about this in Discord, and you can see that we've got the clear zones here. And we're currently pushing up against the top of this demand zone. And we've got I'll just turn off the stuff for it. You can see the pin bar, you know. You can see the little pin bar there. Pin bar candle right near the top of this zone. If we push a little bit on the DXY and we get out of this area here, it's going to be really bad for crypto. You know, I can hope that we get rejected here because there is a resistance right here. But yeah, if it pops out of this zone, I'm gonna agree with Cole there. It's not very good for crypto. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I'll pass it back, man.
Sweet. I've got the wrong chart up at the moment. This is my DXY chart. Let's go have a look at gold. Right, gold is looking pretty interesting. We had this Adam and Eve sort of bottom, but you know, it started looking good. Never cleared the top here, and obviously rolled over and got rejected. So we probably can get rid of that now. But it does seem to be looking like it wants to stay above the previous all-time high. So that's been holding as a pretty nice level. Definitely don't want to see us lose that. I think if gold breaks down below 1920, it's going to probably come back to about 18 at least. At least this high through here, or this might just be a buy zone throughout there. So it could be possibly a bit of a top pattern on gold at the moment. Does look like a massive descending triangle there. I think I saw Troy watching at the moment in the chat box there. I don't know. I think Troy would probably be all over that as a short. But sometimes, you know, the descending triangles, they're not really the best top patterns, but a lot of the time they can lead to continuation. So, you know, we break down, reclaim, then take off. So I would be watching for a reclaim of the descending trend line throughout here, because I think if that breaks, price could take off, and definitely look for some sort of a reversal in this downtrend, right? So obviously we've got throughout here, we've got like this. Right, so we've got a high, right? We've got a lower high, we've got a lower high, we've got a lower high. So if we look for that trend to break, right? Because we're making consistent lower highs, look for that trend to break. And then something like this could play out and be nice. Right, so let's just say we come down, maybe SFP, this level here, right? Reclaim the previous all-time high, which is the purple line, and then something like that. I think if this happens, this would be like a very strong indication that gold's going to break out again. And then, you could sort of match up your analysis with DXY, and DXY will definitely be breaking down if gold is looking like that, right? So I think definitely be watching and keeping your eyes on this level here. Like if you guys are gold traders, I think this is going to be a really nice sort of SFP zone to watch, right? So if we get the sort of candles, let's just say we come down, bounce off that again, wick below here and then close, something like that is a really nice entry. And you either get on the retest, which might not come, but definitely if you get some sort of like a hammer reversal candle or something like that there. So I'll be looking for a candle that looks like this. It'll be green. Right, I'll be looking for a candle that looks like this around this area here, right? So if we do something like that, maybe the wick's not that long and you want the body of the candles to be closing above the wick is usually when it's most bullish, right? Something like that would generally lead to a reversal in trend, especially if it was like on the 4 hour, right? Would generally lead to a reversal in trend, and we'd be looking at absolute bare minimum. This is going to come back up to 1940, so it's going to be a really nice trade anyway. If you want to take it to FTA, which is the first trouble area, and so it might take off half position at FTA, and then let the other half of the position just ride free and slowly drag up the stop loss as this move starts to play out. Because I think that it would definitely push up to around sort of these levels quite aggressively if we do break out in that direction. So you don't want to fight against the trend too much and still be looking like, obviously gold has been extremely bullish all year. Don't want to fight against the trend too much just because we're seeing a little bit of bearish price action on the daily. On the 4 hour, obviously it just looks a bit more like a symmetrical triangle, right? So keep our eyes peeled. If it does break down bearish, I'll probably just be leaving it and I won't be looking to short this bearish. But if we do get some sort of really nice SFP in here, I think that's a nice long entry, and at least looking for 2068, possibly higher as well. But we can look at that later, high level target. So they're the main things I'll be watching. Obviously, if that does break out to the bullish side, it's probably going to drag Bitcoin with it. And we'll be looking for coming back up to 12K, possibly up to 14K type thing. So at the moment, it does look like this is going to end up playing the bearish setup that I was talking about, right? The other thing as well is this might just take off from there. But I think if we come back into this rising wedge and break below the tops through here, bearish retest and then back to the range low is definitely highly likely. So especially when we're quite overbought on our Nexus indicator, and stochastics as well needs a full swing low. We're starting to get a bit aggressive now. So hopefully someone took the short from the start of the episode, because we're probably starting to get in now. And this could get nasty soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. I haven't checked the chat box.
Yeah, I'll share my screen now. I've got a few coins that people wanted to cover. I've got the charts up now, so.
Right, sweet. I'll just take a look at Link because I'm trading that at the moment.
Yeah,
yeah, Link for me, I mean, it's the same as Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? It looks like a rising wedge.
Same at the moment.
We sort of broke down and it's been pushing into the bottom of this trend line. So this multi-touch trend line, I definitely say it's 3 touches, right? Probably about 5 in there if you take every individual candle on the 1 hour. But it's grinding on the bottom of this, just broke into it and they're getting rejected straight away. I don't like to trade trend lines like this that much, but, I think this is definitely about to have a swing low, right? So it's the same as the rest of the market. It looks like we're going to have a swing low shortly. And yeah, I think high chance that this is actually going to play as a rising wedge and play as a bear flag, right? And so then you would take a measured move, something like this. I don't think it's going down to $5, but we could come back to maybe $8 or $10 or something like that. I'll probably be taking profit around 10 and then $8. So let's see how that plays out. It's going to be a nice trade. Obviously, that would mean Bitcoin shitting the bed as well, but it's going to be about a 30%. So yeah, the other one that's actually has been looking good is XTZ, which is our versus Bitcoin trade. It's trying to bounce out of this buy zone at the moment, but we're getting rejected at resistance at the moment. I really need to see that take off and come back, and it'll be pushing towards this trend line, I think, quite rapidly. It seems to be, it likes to come back down into this zone through here and then bounce out of it. So let's see if we can do that again moving into next week. But I think a Bitcoin dump again will drag it down. So I'll play a handball across to you, mate.
Sweet. All right, guys. So just first of all, I just wanted to give a quick comment on gold, and I agree with that. To me, when I open my chart, I've got all my levels in groups, and I just overlap them all, and I can see like kind of key areas, And right here, I can see we've got this massive diagonal trend line on gold. Now, I'm the same as Kyle. I don't use diagonals too much. I don't think they're reliable. But we're back under it. We're pin barred under it again. It looks like we're rejecting under it, and we've also got an order block here, which is definitely a significant order block on this 1 day time frame. So we've come back under this order block, and it looks like a evening star reversal is about to form. So I would be careful with gold on Monday. I can see a clear possible little range forming, like between these two zones here. So it's a chance it might just consolidate before we have a decision move above this zone, and we can go to the next area or below. And if we go below, there's not too much support. There's this area here, and then the next area is back down here. So definitely one to keep an eye out. And I had a few other requests. Someone mentioned VET. Sorry, wrong chart. I'll start with IOTA. So now looking at IOTA USD, now we've bounced off a clear supply zone, and it looks like a flip, but the thing is, I can see a clear bear flag here. Now you're not going to get a better example of a bear flag, or bear pennant, I should say, than this. So right now, the USDT, it does not look very good on IOTA. It was looking good like a day ago. It was starting to look positive, but now we really need to get some momentum here. Or you can see here on the left, we've made this bear flag. It looks like to me we're going to do another one of them.
It does look really similar, doesn't it?
Yeah. And now looking at BTC, same thing. I called a trade the other day for you guys. There was little head and shoulders in here. I called it. I got 30% profit on 5 times leverage. I took profit here, and because there's a falling wedge, and to me this is a formation of the cup and handle. We've got the clear around the bottom. We had like 7 touches on it, and then we kind of broke down, and we pin barred off it here, and we launched. And then once again, we tried to bounce off it, and we got rejected at the supply zone and come down to form this falling wedge. And at the bottom, we had a inverse head and shoulders. So I was bullish on it. But right now, under this area, I'll clear the chart. Sorry. So you can see this is a key area. We've bounced off it there. We've bounced off it there. We bounce off it there. Now we're back under it, and we're rejecting right now. So this is not very good on IOTA. It's probably, this is the last area here. If it loses this, then we've got a big dump coming on this. But if we get it back above this green area, then I will switch short-term bullish. Now VET on the Bitcoin. It's the whole market is pretty similar at the moment, like IOTA, VET, and a few other ones. They're kind of resting, or they're bouncing on the previous resistance. So this is VeChain Bitcoin. We can see the clear formation of a supply zone, and we've bounced right off it here. So to me, this it actually looks a lot better on the Bitcoin chart here than the USDT. to me, this is, you know, it looks bullish here, but as soon as we sell off a bit and come back into here, it's with one big move, it's not really that good. You know, it's in a bit of a tight spot where we're kind of floating in between levels at the moment. So ADA is another one, and you know, it's basically the same thing. This is on perpetual futures. It's not the full chart, but we don't need the full chart to get across my point. You know, we can see the clear resistance zone. We can see we actually flipped it here, and we can see we've actually bounced and respected here. And you know, that should be bullish, but because we're up here, you know, we can reject from here, we can reject from here. That we can't. It's hard for us to really say that this is a good place to go long. Now on the ADA BTC, I have actually been averaging into ADA, so you know, I'm happy. I have different accounts. Some accounts I scalp, some accounts I just buy and hold, but I don't buy and hold too many things unless I have a general long-term kind of plan for them. And looking at ADA on BTC, I'll just get my indicators up. Looking on the BTC chart, the first thing I can tell you is that now in my last live stream, I told you guys about the RSI and the stochastic. You know, it's not a guarantee, but when it kind of makes a W, it can be a sign of a bottom. And, you know, we've got this clear W here. So on the 1 day on the Bitcoin, it actually does look a bit better than the USDT. So maybe Bitcoin's going to have a bit of a sell-off and give some relief to the altcoins. We can hope so. But, you know, ADA looks all right. VET looks all right. But the rest, they don't look too great. And we still are under you know, a little support here, which is not good. We'd have to come above here and, you know, have a bit of momentum come in. But when ADA dumps, I am adding to my position in small bits because, as I've mentioned in the Discord, ADA and XTZ, they have DeFi related stuff coming up. And, you know, all it takes is one release, one launch, and we have a bit of good price action here. For example, you know, everything's kind of been on a bit of a downtrend. Let's look at NEO. Now, I think it was yesterday, they actually released a DeFi token. Let's look at the price here. It's fucking skyrocketed. So we can see that ADA and XTZ, they're both in downtrends, but mate, they got to have a retracement eventually. Look at ADA. It's just been going down for ages. It's, you know, if it's going to bounce from anywhere, it's going to be around here. So I've added a bit as it continues to come down. To me, this is still a kind of a flag or a pennant structure. And, you know, we might continue to drag out downwards, but it's just a matter of time before it has a run. If it runs from here, it's likely it's going to go up to this 0.6 for a rejection. And if it loses this support, it's I'm pretty confident we're going to see a solid bounce from this key level here. So definitely one to keep an eye on ADA, and as with Kyle as well, XTZ. I'll just have a look quickly. Where's my other charts? There we are. Right, my chart is pretty much the same as Kyle's. You know, we've got the formation of a clear supply zone here. We can see the flip. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reactions, and now we've broken under it. So it's bullish above it, and the minute we come under it and make a kind of a wick, we're basically going down to the next area. But there is DeFi related stuff coming in the future for XTZ and ADA, so consider that in your midterm analysis. I think that's it from me, guys. If anyone has anything to say, I can unmute you now, or Kyle can unmute you now, and if you got any questions.
To you guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Wednesday. Probably
Yeah, guys. If try and tune in on Wednesday because we're going to make a bit of an announcement. What's happening with the group? We got some new stuff coming for you guys. We're actually working on quite a lot of stuff in the background at the moment. So I look forward to it, guys.
too easy, guys. Chat soon.